Hi there folks, so I wanted to make a quick endorsement for Jacob Rees-Mogg as the new Prime Minister. It's become pretty clear that Theresa May is incapable of running the country. She can barely keep tabs on her own party, let alone the negotiations with the EU. During the general election, Theresa May tried to play herself off as a Margaret Thatcher style figurehead, but she is definitely not Margaret Thatcher. She doesn't have the charisma, the strength, or the natural leadership abilities that Margaret Thatcher had. She's just incapable of playing that type of role. And the problem with this is she tried to draw attention to herself as a person, and that draws all the criticism towards you. If she had focused the campaign more around the party, that would have spread out the attention to the rest of the party and thus taken some of the attention away from her, because she is a very awkward and just strange character. She just doesn't have the charisma to pull off that type of role. But what concerns me most about Theresa May is her attitude towards privacy, especially internet privacy. We're already one of the most surveilled states in the world in the UK. Some estimates state that there are as many as 5.9 million CCTV cameras in Britain right now. Probably more, because this is actually old data. That's one CCTV camera for every 11 people in the UK. That is insane. And it only gets worse whenever you consider that the police are starting to wear body vest cameras. We're being watched no matter where we go or what we do. Government bodies like the GCHQ are illegally holding information on British citizens, and this is only going to get worse under Theresa May. She's already stated that she has ambitions to control the internet through the government, and of course Amber Rudd said that people who view far-right propaganda could face up to 15 years imprisonment. Now, she said this under the guise of preventing terrorism, but we know what this really is. It's censorship. And as for the EU negotiations, it's very clear that Theresa May is getting trampled on by the EU. I always thought it was a bad idea to put a Remainer in charge of the EU negotiations, but the Tories stuck her in anyway, probably as an attempt to appeal to feminists or something along those lines. Now, as for Jacob Rees-Mogg, I'm very much aligned with a lot of his political views. He's in favour of decentralising, free markets, and regarding things like the Syrian conflict, he's a non-interventionist. These things are pretty important to me, so it's really good to see someone like him who shares those sort of views. Something else I really like about Jacob Rees-Mogg is that although he's a traditionalist, he knows not to impose his moral values on other people. So he can be against something like same-sex marriage in a moral sense, but when it comes to public policy, he says he wouldn't change the laws. I think this is really, really important. People often try to impose their own moral values on the rest of society, and as somewhat of a libertarian, I think it's really important not to impose your own morals on other people. You have to persuade people that your way is right through things like debate. And this, of course, means that he's probably more trustworthy regarding things like internet privacy and censorship than someone like Theresa May. But more importantly than that, he is definitely willing to take a firm stance with the EU. He has no intentions of getting pushed around, as this exchange with David Davies shows.
Who's going to punish us if we get on with it now? Aren't we just still acting as if we are in the European Union, we're bound by the European Union, we are lackeys of the European Union?
We're acting as a law-abiding country.
Bit bolder.
We're acting as a law-abiding country.
And implement the referendum.
Mr. Rees-Mogg, I'm surprised at you. Oh, you of all people suggesting we go and break the laws.
It's not breaking the law.
And as far as his personality goes, he is very charismatic. He comes across as very cool, calm and collected, approachable, but at the same time he's bold when he needs to be. I'm sure by now everyone has saw how he reacted to the Antifa thugs that tried to break up his speech at Bristol. He handled that very, very well. He simply confronted them and tried to engage in reasonable debate. The problem was, of course, you can't be reasonable with Antifa, so he didn't really get anywhere, but it's the effort that counts. All in all, Jacob Rees-Mogg is quite a class act. He's got a grassroots movement that's there to support him, made up of young and enthusiastic conservatives. He's also got quite a backing within the Tory party as well, so hopefully we'll see him as Prime Minister sooner rather than later. I think it's also worth mentioning at this point that someone else I would like to see alongside Jacob Rees-Mogg would be MEP Daniel Hannan. I think Daniel Hannan would do very well as Chancellor of the Exchequer. He's one of the original Eurosceptics, and he's wrote a series of books including The Euro Bad for Business, Why America Must Not Follow Europe, and A Doomed Marriage, Britain and Europe. Daniel Hannan shares a lot of political views with me as well. He's very much into decentralisation, and this was really well explained in his 2009 book called The Plan 12 Months to Renew Britain. Basically, it's a manifesto of how he would arrange domestic policy within the UK based on a system known as localism. It's a very interesting read, and if you're into decentralisation as well, I think it would be worth your time to take a look at this book. He's got a very clear vision of what he would like Britain to look like once we leave the European Union. He even wrote a book called What Next? How to Get the Best from Brexit, and in it he details what sort of relationship and trade policies we would have between the EU and other states around the world. Daniel Hannan has some very similar views to Jacob Rees-Mogg, so if you like Jacob, then you're probably going to like Daniel as well. Now, unfortunately, Daniel is currently an MEP and he's not an MP, but once we leave the European Union, that'll hopefully change, and maybe we'll see him somewhere in there alongside Jacob Rees-Mogg. That's if Jeremy Corbyn hasn't taken the place over and turned us into the Soviet Union by then. So this was a pretty short video, but it looks as though Theresa May is really on her way out, and I really hope that someone sensible like Jacob Rees-Mogg will take over as Prime Minister. He's definitely got the charisma, he's got the vision for Brexit, and he is not going to take any crap from the EU. He would make a very good Prime Minister. Anyway, feel free to leave your thoughts below on who you think should be Prime Minister. If at all you think there should be a change, maybe you think Theresa May should stay. There could be arguments related to stability within the government, but honestly, I would say the chances are she's on her way out. Hopefully we'll see Jacob Rees-Mogg in soon, and thanks for watching.